Hi everyone, hope you're enjoying this nice day, seeing what's going on in LCC in an interesting way. My name is Lamprini, and today we are going to talk about portfolios. Just a bit of background about me. I studied at LCC about quite a long time ago. I did BA photography and I graduated in 2016. And I loved it so much that I stayed and I'm currently working. I'm now working in a recruitment part of LCC, which means that I do a lot of presentations about what the college is, what is about LCC, the courses, but also advise people on portfolios. And I'll go to schools and try and do some workshops to let them know what's going on and how they can improve their applications and their portfolios. Portfolio is something really important in your application. It shows exactly who you are, your personality, what you're interested in, and how much effort have you put on your work. So a portfolio should be professional but human, and we'll explain that later on as we go through the session. We want to see your passion, your enthusiasm, in the things that you're interested in, and how much effort you put into your work. And it's basically through your portfolio we need to see you, and we need to see how you can evolve throughout a degree. So a lot of different things that you should consider about your portfolio. One of these things is to consider the audience. You need to think of which course you're applying, because each course will ask you for different portfolios. You need to think how you're gonna approach and how you're gonna develop your portfolio to show it and to show it to your future school, university. So that means that we never suggest that you should go chronologically, because it could be so many different things that you can work on in different times of your life, basically, while you develop your work on your portfolio. So you should have a narrative. It's like going through a book, and you need to consider that a lot, because it will make sense to us to understand how your work has evolved throughout the years, how a project inspire another project, and that's how you can see how you've done your research, your interest again, and how you can evolve through your projects. So you need to consider again the format. The most important thing is that you need to give your work room to breathe, and when we say that is that the layout needs to be open, and it needs to have space between images, between writing, so when the people are seeing your portfolios and go through them, they can actually pay attention and understand what's happening, instead of being really confused with too many details and too many photographs in one page. So just give it a bit of space, just to be able to go through easily and fluently. You need to consider, of course, the images, the size of the images. If the items that you put together are linked, are they the image which is next to each other, or the text that you put, would it be relevant to what you are talking about the project? And also if the images are final pieces at the end. What we're going to say is that the portfolio, and we'll explain as well the digital portfolio, is that you need to show projects. That's how we can evaluate how you work through the projects, how you started from the beginning. Maybe there are some obstacles going to in the middle of it, and then you have the final results. It could be an unfinished project. It could be a project that you done 2 years ago, and then the project that you're working currently was inspired from it. So that's when what we mean to look into a narrative, because that's what we want to see. We want to see how you work, basically how your mind works, and what inspires you. and we can't see that when there are random things without an order. So that's, we're coming into balance, process, and perfection. So your portfolio doesn't need to be perfect. We want to see mistakes. We want to see how you work through these mistakes, and we want to see unfinished things as well, what you're bringing into the table. The most important things that we would like to see in your portfolio is the process, any technical experimentation. We use the word a lot in LCC because we want our students and the people coming through to experiment as much as possible. And also your research and development, and how these key elements help you to come with an outcome, with your final piece of work out of your project. So just to make sure that, you know, again, when you're presenting something to a prospective university, prospective job, anyway, you would like to, people would like to see the images and the things that you're showing to be nicely mounted, and also to be in a high res. So the images that you're using, make sure that they're not pixelated or blurred, because then we might miss some of the details I would like to see. If this, you know, if blurred and pixelated is part of your work, that's fine. Just make sure to let us know. But in general, just make sure to be clean, nice layout, and to show us your work and what you've been doing. To build a portfolio is quite an interesting process. I know a lot of people, they're scared of it because of what comes with it. You know, to showing your work is so intimate and so personal as well, because you have put so much effort. You put a piece of you into your work. And I know a lot of students that have, well, when I applied for the degree, I remember I was just thinking, oh, there's so much work that I like to show. But you need to make sure that you show work that you like, that it's your favorite work, and also that you are able, the most important thing is that you are able to talk about it, because that if you're showing something that you're not sure that you put it in there just to fill your portfolio, that won't reflect with the rest. It might impact your rest of your work. So make sure to don't fill your portfolio with work that just to make it bigger. We prefer to see something smaller and something solid that you're able to explain and talk about. But just not to fill with work that you just put there just to make it look bigger. We prefer to see that something smaller. And that's one really important thing, that to be decisive, to understand what to remove and what to add. You should, we'll go on to speak with digital portfolios, but I always say just prepare something, you know, start slowly. Don't try to make it last minute, because that will really stress you out, and that will maybe make you forget things that you would like to say or show us. So just take your time until you were asked to submit your portfolio, and trying with different layouts. Just have a look on your work that you have, and maybe just tag the ones that you'd be interested to say, well, this is something that I might like to include in my portfolio. I really enjoy that. Even if it's an unfinished project that you think that's really important, there's something that you're currently working that you would like to show us, feel free to do so, because we want to see. So that we're coming to, you know, show us what you love. That's your portfolio is all about. It's just to show us exactly what you love, what you're passionate about, inspires you, you're interested, and how hard you work from point A to point B. So we want to see the whole process of as well, from in the middle of before going from point A to point B, basically. And that's how we come in to say for portfolio to be human, but also to have a narrative, because then we'll see the obstacles and mistakes that you've done. We want to see imperfection. We're not expecting you to come in with the best professional portfolio, because you're here to learn and to improve, but we just want to see you. We want to see it. Your portfolio is a window to your personality and who you are for us. So it's really, really important. We want to see your point of view and show us exactly what you want us to see. And don't be scared of showing something that it didn't work out, but it really helped you to create the outcome. So think about format. Format is really important, and it's just to make each course has different requirements. That's really something really important to say, because you might apply for courses that you think they're similar. Let's say photography and BA photography and BA photojournalism and documentary photography, which means that even though they sound similar, you would think, oh, I'll submit the same portfolio. They're really different courses, and you need to submit something that separates them according to, have a look on the on the course page, exactly see what they're doing, and each course have their own portfolio requirements. Some of the courses they ask you what exactly they want you to submit. Some of the courses they might be more general, but always make sure to read the page before submitting anything, just to have like a to-do list, kind of that this is I submit this, I did this, I'm okay, I can now fully submit my portfolio and wait for responses. But make sure that it is really important, because a lot of people that don't, but make sure to check the course page and opt for something that is what suits the subject area. But for example, if it's if you like to involve, let's say you're applying for illustration, visual media, and you will be interested to involve some photography there, some film, that's something that we like to see as well. So again, just do your research is your best friend right now, and it will be throughout your years as well in the university. And just to make sure that you photograph your work in a really high quality, well, not big, high quality big files, but in a high quality that is that we be able to see details, that we can see that again, that's not pixelated, that is not blurred, and it's against a clear background, so we have nothing to obstruct us from seeing your work, and it looks more professional and clean and nice. So if you, for example, have 3D models or something that it's not a photograph itself, but you would like to take a picture of it, then please do so, but make sure to be to be lighted well, and also in a clear background. And it could be really simple. We don't ask you to be professional photographed, but something that it can show us the work the best way possible. So we'll be talking about submitting a digital portfolio. That is because when it comes to portfolio, London College of Communication has been asking for a digital portfolio submission for the past 2 years or so, and it's something that is really important to us. It's just it's how the industry now, they require future employees to submit their portfolios. So it's a really good practice to start thinking about it and moving on from a physical portfolio to a digital. And of course, with the what's going on right now, and not being able to meet face to face, a lot of universities will be asking digital portfolios. Sorry, my throat is a bit dry. So let's just talk about submitting a digital portfolio. I know it sounds a bit different. It sounds a bit worrying maybe, but it's so easy, and so you have so many possibilities and opportunities to showcase your work through a digital portfolio. So don't be scared of to move on being from a physical portfolio to a digital, because it is the same rules apply. It's the same thing as a physical. It's just on a screen instead of an actual. The only difference is that basically you're not flipping the pages, and that's all. So of course, when you apply to us, you will receive a confirmation that we got your application and that we would like you to submit a portfolio. And within this email, it will tell you exactly what we need you to do, what we want from you, the number of images, the format, the size limitations, anything that you need to upload your portfolio in the on the platform that I'm going to tell you later on as well. So through this, you can in digital portfolio is really good because you can submit images, audio, video. You can have text in there. You can also include hyperlinks. And when we're talking about format, especially for people submitting videos, you would need to make sure that it's not too long. Like you wouldn't be able to submit something that's more than 2 minutes long. And also because of time-wise, when somebody is looking at your portfolio, it's just a bit hard to see the whole work and time-wise. So we always suggest to showcase the most important bits on your video. But if you would like to include hyperlinks to give us the opportunity to see the whole piece somewhere externally, please feel free to do so, because that will support again your portfolio a lot and your work that you're currently doing. So I mentioned that we have a platform. It's called Pepperbud. I think a lot of universities right now, they're going to use Pepperbud. We've been using it for the past 2 years or so, and it works really, really well. So you will receive the email that says, this is your login, this is where you can access Pepperbud. It's an online tool which enables our applicants to upload additional requirements to support their application, basically, and that means mainly your portfolio. They will send you the link that you can access Pepperbud and your login details, your username, your password. So that will be, it will be straightforward. You wouldn't have to look through it and just try and figure out what's going on. We will explain everything that you need. Just to make sure that if you're applying for to multiple courses that they require portfolio, each course will send you a separate email. So, sorry. So make sure to check the emails, and if you submit a portfolio for one course, that means that you have to submit a portfolio again for a different course. So make sure that you check your emails and you submit the portfolio into the right course. The Pepperbud system itself will contain, again, detailed instructions on how to upload your work that is required for each course. And again, you will receive a separate email submitting your portfolio as well as the details of the submission deadline for each course that expects you to submit a portfolio through Pepperbud. You will see that they will let you know the images, the sizes, the files that you can upload, the types of files. For example, images, you can upload BMP, G for GIF, the whole conversation about it, JPEG, PNG. So, and then audio, we're going from MP3, MP4. So a lot of other formats as well as video. So they will let you know exactly the formats that you can upload. We're talking about image size, so that's when it becomes a little bit of a problem if it's a big file. So make sure that your sizes that the files that you upload on the Pepperbud, they're not more than 4,000 pixels in either height or width. Again, I know you don't have to worry about that much because all this information is there on a website as well as on the email that you will receive from us. So the other thing is that the files uploaded should not exceed the 512 MB file size limit. So that's kind of a lot of technical things. the main thing that I would say is just see Pepperbird as a tool for you to showcase your work as best as possible, and use it. Think of it as a blog, an online website, and you shouldn't really go into that and drop images or text. We want to see that you paid attention and you created something that showcase your work in the best light. Because we have a lot of students that they submit the work and it could be just images without any explanations, without anything showing any idea behind it, a project, research. So please make sure to just spend some time to have a look and just think of it. As I said, take your time. You have lots of time still, and try to experiment maybe with, printing images physically, or just experiment on your laptop and see. Have a look on the work that you have, categorize into different areas, like this is a project that I've done, then maybe that helped me to do with that project later on. Maybe this work that I've created, it could be something that I can develop later on as well, and to try and show this, to putting together in a really nice format to showcase to the people that will see your portfolio. So just pay a little bit more attention on the details and the layout on the online submission. The other thing that I would like to mention is the sketchbook. A lot of people think that they shouldn't show the sketchbook work, but your sketchbook is probably the most important thing, because this is how an idea comes to life. So what you can do is either you can find really different ways to showcase your sketchbook. If you're showing us a project and you would like to show a little bit of the process and the development, you can scan the images or take pictures of the pages of your sketchbook that relates to that project. You can even take a video of yourself going through your sketchbook. You don't have to show your face or anything, just to go through the sketchbook and show your work. But it's definitely something that we would like to see. Any notes, anything that it would suggest your research, your ability to develop an idea and contextualize it, we would like to see that as well. You can also, as I said, you can use images, sound, video, you can use text, so you can let us know exactly to describe your project, to tell us a little bit about the research and inspiration behind it. So it's basically open to you to do anything that you like to do and to show your work how it feels right for you. Represent yourself and your passions, and how it shows that this is me, this is what I want to do, and this is why I'm choosing to come to this course. And of course, your portfolio, as I said, it's such an important piece of your application, which we will pay most of the attention will go on your portfolio. And if it's something, if we can see potential, then we'll be more than happy to offer you a place. So I think I'm trying to think if there's anything. I think I covered most of the things. The last advice that I will give you is just take your time. Definitely take your time. Don't rush into it. Don't stress too much about it, because you already have the work. If you want to show us something more, just try and take this time now that we have to work on to develop another project. But it's really, I know a lot of you might be a bit worried of the situation that we're currently in, and that you can't really develop work if either you're not at college or school, or if you currently working. But it's just take a bit of time to sit down and have a look on the courses that you want to apply. Have a look on the work that you currently have, or just write down any ideas that you might be able to develop throughout that period before showing us your portfolio. But the main thing is just to not leave it for the last minute, because that's the point that it will, you will get stressed about it. You might not pay that much effort and attention to create something that show, because you might have a credible work that shows true potential, but if you leave it for last minute and you're rushing to create a portfolio, it might not show it in the best way possible for you. And that's why I say just don't rush into it, and basically take your time and maybe just relax. And when you have some free time, just relax, just let your mind go up and just calm, and things will come slowly, and start gathering a bit of your work together. That's most of the things from me. You can find more advice as well on our website, if you on arts.ac.uk/portfolio. We also have some films online if you would like to see, but I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have. Again, if you're interested, if you have questions about anything relating to general inquiries, accommodation, student support, and scholarships and fees, please forward any of your queries onto these emails on the slide currently on your screens. But I'm open to questions.
Hi, Lamprini. Thank you for that. The first question, is it okay to include unfinished pieces of work in the portfolio? And if so, how much of that unfinished work can you include?
Definitely, unfinished work is something that we want to see as well. As I mentioned, it's just that we like to see some projects. If that is something that you're currently working, that you know that you will not be able to finish until you have to submit your until after you have to submit your portfolio, please make sure. Yeah, we would like to see that. We would like to see what you're currently working on. As I said, we don't want a perfect portfolio. We just want to see you and your potential and what you're interested in. When it comes to amount of work, I can't tell you exactly how much. It's really up to you how much you would like to show. But if you, I will recommend that maybe show us 2 projects that they're finished, that you have final outcome, and maybe the last one will be something that you can tell us that, oh, this is what I'm currently working on. If you have something else as well, another project that you're working together with the unfinished one, and it's also unfinished, I think it should be okay as well to include that. This is the thing you can mention in, as I said, having a narrative is really important, and you can mention towards the end that this is what I'm currently working on, and this is what inspired it. I would say so maybe 2 unfinished projects, up to 2, it will be okay.
So there's quite a few questions here about narrative and sort of what that means, and if having a strong portfolio is about having a narrative, but what if your portfolio is sort of lots of images that are sort of disconnected? How can you create that narrative if they're seemingly unconnected pieces of work?
Okay, so we talk about narrative a lot. You'll see throughout the university, throughout your degree as well, or if you are currently studying somewhere, you will have seen how when we say narrative, we're referring as well projects. If you have a lot of work that is random images, I would suggest to have a look at them and see that you will start seeing after, if you have them all in front of you, that there are some links to each images, because unconsciously you do photograph, or you creating something that it will link to an idea or something that you think you feel strongly about it. So what I will suggest is just have a look on all the work that you have created, all the images that you might have, and try to categorize them according to similarities. If they're dealing with, if you, for example, let's talk about photography, which it's kind of my fill. But if you, for example, you have a lot of photographs that they are strict photography, and you're taking pictures of buses and transportation, let's say, and even if they're random, they could be all over the place. If you put them together, you can see that they actually link. There's a link together. There's a link between them. And that's what you should do, even if you're working with drawings or illustrations and you have a lot of random pieces of work, you should have a look on all of them together and put them into different groups, and then out of it you'll see that you'll come out with projects and ideas, and that's how we talk about narrative. It just needs, when we mention narrative in a portfolio, we want to see that it's fluent, that it has it's not kind of, we cannot see the ideas that you have worked on and what's happening in your mind, basically, and what you're interested in. And that's what it means we say narrative. We want to see projects instead of random images, and it's really, really important. Just have a look on all the work you produce and put them into groups. That's the best way that you can do it. And it's something that we do a lot as well in the university. I hope that was okay.
Yeah, thank you, Lamprini. So to what extent does the work in your portfolio need to relate to the course that you're applying to?
It could be that you're interested in animation, let's say animation, and you have some film work, you have some photography work, that it helps you to work on your projects and develop your idea. You should definitely include these things. I know it's how we said, when we say to be related to the area that you're applying to, the course that you're applying, it's just to, for example, you're applying for photography and you include only sound, or you include only drawings, for example. We would need to see something, photographs. We need to see that aspect of the course. So that's what we mean when you say that it needs to be close to the subject area. But if you have experimented with other formats from the course that you're applying, the specific area of the course that you're applying, and they help you to create your final outcome, definitely include these ones. But we just don't want to see it could be even applying for photojournalism and documentary photography, and showing a portfolio with only fashion photography. That would show it to us that you're not interested in photojournalism, documentary photography, but you're interested in fashion. So we might then suggest that this is the right course for you. But it's basically, as I say, it's just do your research, have a look on the course and what they ask, because the portfolio requirements are also really clear on its course page, but also have a look on what they're doing. We have our students that they talk about their work, and you can see a little bit of what's happening in the course currently. But the main point is to include work that is that it relates on your course that you would like to apply. But if you have something different that help you to produce the projects and to produce the final outcome of your project, you can include this. That's why we give you the option to include videos, images, sound, anything that it might help you. Something really quick, I know that it will be mentioned as well later on, but we do have sessions, specific portfolio sessions in December. They're currently on our website, so we'll do a presentation like this as we did today, but it will be specifically on different subject areas. So it will be for photography, for film, graphics, illustration, animation. So we'll go into detail on each subject area and what you can involve in the portfolio, and there will be people that are actually looking at your portfolios. Is there another question?
So there are a lot of people asking about the size of the portfolio, and there seems to be a bit of an angst about it maybe being too big or too small. So just to reiterate, there isn't one size fits all for how big your portfolio should be, should it?
No, there is. That's the good thing with the digital portfolio as well. On a physical portfolio, again, on the course pages, on the portfolio requirements, they might ask you that they want 10 images, 20 images for different courses. They could say, you might be applying for film and they will say images. Well, when we say with images, it's just the videos that you can use. I always say it into projects because I want to make sure that I get the message out there that, you know, you are working in projects. We need to see that. So I would say up to 3, maybe 4 projects you can show on digital portfolio. And that could include maybe each project, it could be 5 images to 10. But the good thing with digital portfolio is like you can really play around with how the layout of your images. So we might say 10 images, but you want to show us more. You can then put them together on Photoshop or InDesign, and you can put them together as maybe 4 images as one file, and that's, you can upload it. We don't have a specific size on the portfolio that we would like to see online on the online submission. It's just that make sure to I think you should, before submitting, make sure to show it to maybe a friend or family just to see how they will react on it. And if they think that it's just too long, then start thinking about that, probably that's too much, so I should cut down. But I would say up to 4 projects, maybe if you choose to have 4 projects, maybe have 5 to 10 images, 5 images each. And if you're including video, make sure that it's no more than 2 minutes long. You can have multiple clips that they are 2 minutes. You can have, if you choose to have a show reel, for example, make sure that it makes sense. We don't really recommend show reels. We want to see clips of your best parts. If you just want to include videos of your work, again, 2 minutes on each clip will be the best amount of time. But it's really, really up to you how you would like to work on it. Just make sure to be, we'll come back to be decisive. Try to show us, of course, we would love to see all the work that you have produced, but it's really important to figure out the best work that you've done, and you can show us, for example, if a sketchbook that it really relates onto the project that you're showcasing on your portfolio. But I just make sure to go out, show it to somebody before you submit it, to a family or friend or anyone that you feel comfortable with, and just see the reaction, because it would be good to have somebody else telling you that, oh, maybe it's too, there's no such thing as too small. I mean, if you choose to put 1 image only, that would be too small. But you can just choose 1 project. It could be a really, really strong project. But if you would like more specific, I would say 2 to 4 projects. You can see 2 or 4 projects. And the images that you're using on the video is really up to you, how you can play with the layout of it. Hope that helped with the questions.
Yeah, thank you, Lamprini. I think it's just to reiterate that there is no one answer to that question, and that's the difficult thing.
Yeah.
And also on that same vein, there seems to be a lot of people asking if there are any sort of examples of portfolios that have maybe been accepted for some courses. And maybe you could just explain why we don't have examples of portfolios.
Yeah. We don't show examples anymore of portfolios because it's so personal. We wouldn't want you to get influenced by somebody else's portfolio, or get really upset that you might not have that kind of portfolio, because we don't have an example of the best portfolio that we can have, because it's so different from student to student. We don't want you to get influenced by somebody else's portfolio, because we might miss of your own point of view, your own personality, and that's why we don't showcase any more examples of portfolios. What I can suggest is that you can have a look again on our website and go through. We have lots of students talking about their work as well, about what they've done. You can have a look on our YouTube channel, London College of Communication, and you can see in each course how the students are talking about it. But don't go, I would never recommend to go and search for portfolios examples, because this is really needs to be you and what you think is right for you. And just try and if it helps you to be, if you're struggling with a digital portfolio, for example, and you have vision your portfolio to be physical, trying to do it first as a physical portfolio, trying to see how you can put it on a paper and see how the layout can work, and take that as a guide to do your digital portfolio. But there's no right or wrong portfolio when it comes to applying in courses in art education. And I think it's something that comes up a lot in these presentations that I do as well. But I'm really sorry to say this is really, really up to you. And we want to see you. We don't want to see anyone else in your work and your portfolio. Hope that was okay.
Cool, thank you, Lamprini. I think that gets it across. So people are asking about text and sort of words and scripts, and how can they put words into PebblePad if it should be, built into sort of slides, or how can you put text onto your what am I saying? Portfolio, sorry.
So you can you can create if it's a script, for example, and you like to show it to us, you are able to put text. We have it's like a text block that you can write as much as you like. You could change the fonts, the color, anything that you like, or you can create a Word document and share it as an image, basically, to export it as an image and upload it. But you can do both. You can still have it use just text if you're thinking that this is a script. If you have some work that you would like to talk about more in detail, you have the option to just, let's say say it as blocks on PebblePad. You have an image block, you have a video block as well, text, sound. So you can play around with this, and you can have one block that is just the image, and then underneath you can put your text and write and explain of your work. If you have a script, you can write it as well. You can transfer your work onto the text block, or as I said, you can have a Word document that you can export it as an image, and you can upload it on PebblePad. There are lots of possibilities. Just because I mentioned images doesn't mean that you have to only use images. It's just be creative with it. It's just be anything. You will see that the software is so easy to use. You have support throughout the whole process. You have IT support, you have support with anything else that comes that you're worried about, and you'll have all these contacts on your email. But PebblePad is really free. That you can do anything that you like in there when it comes to showcase your work. So definitely you can add text as well.
Cool, thanks, Lamprini. And people are asking about timelines. And you mentioned that they'll get an email inviting them to upload their work onto PebblePad, but they don't need to wait to create their portfolio until they get that link. They can be preparing beforehand, so that when it's ready and they get that link, they can just put it straight onto PebblePad and think about formatting.
Yeah, that's why I said take your time. You might have already applied. You might apply later on, and you will receive an email saying, it will say the deadline that you need to submit your portfolio. But also you might receive it. You might have applied, for example, now, and you might receive it in 2 or 3 weeks' time. Generally, we would like to see portfolios around before February or so. Each application has its own kind of timeline, so each different deadline. but everything will be on your email. The one I always say, that's why I say don't leave it last minute. If you start working on your portfolio, do it now. You don't say that this is something that I should work. So my deadline is on the 15th, let's say, and I have to. I'll work on the 14th to submit on the 15th. You can submit it anytime after you received your email, or you can just prepare something now and have it ready. So when you get the email, you can just start building it onto Pebblebud. But just don't leave it too last minute. There's not a specific timeline for that because each application will have its own deadline on portfolios.
People are asking, if a course wants 20 images and they want to show their examples, do those inspiration images, do they count towards the 20, or can you consider those as two separate things?
So when they say 20 images, that's probably the amount of images in anything that you'd like to see. So that's what I say, that you can play with the layout, because if you, as I said, your inspiration could be on your sketchbook work. You can mention, so you can have, think about, instead of just submitting one by one image, you have one image that you like to submit. Think about maybe creating a layout of images and create it as one file to be uploaded on Pebblebud as one image. You need to be a little bit more thinking a little bit out of the box when it comes to the digital portfolio, because it gives you that opportunity to just do a lot more things. So if they say that we only want to see 20 images, that will include your inspiration in your sketchbook. But that means that you can play around and say, well, you said 20 images. Might have two images together as one file. You might have your inspiration. You can include video as well. If you want it, instead of just showing images, you can just have a video presentation kind of thing that you don't have to show again. If you would like to show your sketchbook, but on a video format, you can just show your sketchbook. You can even talk over it, or you can just write a text underneath the video, showcasing your sketchbook and your inspiration. But make sure to just try different layouts and see what works if you like to showcase more work than what has been asked to, when it comes to images limitation. Because that doesn't mean if they say 20 images, you can't have two as one, if that makes sense. Think of it as 20 files instead of 20 images.
Cool, thank you, Lamprini. So this will be the last question.
Yeah.
Just thank you everyone for all your engagement. It's been amazing to see how sort of curious you all are about portfolios. It's been really great. So yeah, the last question for you, Lamprini, is can you include things like links to Instagram? If you take Instagram seriously as a place where you curate your work, or if you have a website, for example, can you include those sorts of links to external sources as well as maybe like a curated few projects?
Yeah. You can definitely include hyperlinks. If it's Instagram, just make sure it's not personal again. If it's the platform that you use to showcase your work, that's fine. But just make sure that it's open it's a public profile instead of private, so we can access it. And that comes also with website. If there's something on your website that is locked, make sure to give us a password for it or just unlock it. But don't just on your portfolio, just think again, don't just include a hyperlink, for example, on your website. That wouldn't be as acceptable. We want to see your work. You should include the work that you like to showcase on your portfolio, and then you can say, well, if you like to see more, I have this on my website, or this, I use Instagram as my main platform for showcasing my work. But just do not only include a hyperlink on your, for example, we open in your portfolio, and all we can see is just a link. We need to see that you paid effort and time to create something on that platform. It would be the same as asking you to do a physical portfolio. You wouldn't just include a hyperlink, you would include more and you then can say that this is where else you can see my work. But you can definitely include the links to any outside websites and Instagram.
Cool. Thank you, Lamprini. So yeah, we're gonna leave it there. Thank you so much for all your time, Lamprini. Thank you for the session. Thank you to everyone who's in here and asked all your questions. Do please get in contact with us. There's the contacts on the screen now. Take a quick screenshot. But yeah, thank you, Lamprini.
Well, thank you for joining the session, and hopefully we'll see you soon as well in other sessions.